Well, good evening and welcome to this Wednesday, March 10th edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston, joined by co-host Jason Juglin J. Obviously the latest from the Health Department, which was just released earlier today. The Ministry of Health received 652 test results since the last update, and 7 were positive for COVID-19. Obviously not what we were looking for or hoping for, but one of the things that's being held up is sports and all of this, especially contact sports. Quickly give me your thoughts on the latest numbers.
Can you give me how many are hospitalized?
0.
Okay, so I remember when we were about to open up the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and there was obviously a lot of hesitation amongst the public regarding opening up the airport. Obviously, we know we need to open it up for the financial side of our business, but for the health and safety, there was a lot of anxiety. We were told by the premier that we expect to have cases as long as we can control them and not jeopardize our health system by folks being in the hospital. Obviously, with the limited size of the hospital for these cases, we didn't want to stress out the health side of it. So in saying that, we haven't had anybody in the hospital for close to a week, I believe. I'm just wondering, how is this playing into these decisions now? Because if we're just gonna go off of just cases on a daily basis, that's like looking at a stock market at a high risk stock. That'd be crazy just looking at the stock. But in saying that, because you're gonna look at all the variants, if that's the case there, then okay, spring break. What do children and families do during spring break? They travel. Okay, 2 months or 6 weeks from the spring break, it'll be school coming out. There are more people traveling to and fro. Then we're into the summertime. Then we're into coming back from school. So if you look at it, it'll be a cycle of every 6 weeks or 2 months or so where you will probably almost expect a spike because of the amount of people traveling. What has changed, I see, is some of the protocols for the folks who are arriving. And I read it to you off air, but it was surprising, and I don't know how long it's been like that because it was at the end of the press release that I saw it. And in quotes, it said, travelers to Bermuda who are arriving from the UK or who have visited the United Kingdom in the past 14 days before they arrive in Bermuda must quarantine in their accommodations for 4 days. Red flag number 1. They may only be released from quarantine after receiving a negative result from day 4 COVID-19 test. In this case, the quarantine relates to the property at which the traveler is staying, not a single room. Now, red flag number 2. The red flag number 1, monitoring. Who gets to monitor the 4 days prior?
I'm not a government official and I ain't a health person, so.
Okay. So stage number 2, we get to the point, obviously you gotta have a pre-test, and then when you arrive, you have another test. And then I believe after the 4-day test, they can move around a bit. Once again, we're seeing positive tests after 8. So I think if we're talking about limiting the cases, the positive cases, especially getting in our community, we have to get tightened right there. Because it seems like we're chasing the horse after it's left the stable. And that's my opinion.
Right. One of the things that I do want to point out, though, is that you did mention the UK, where these 4 of the latest actually arrived on the American flight out of Miami on Monday. So I would imagine that anyone that was on that flight in some sort of close contact would have to be monitored as well. So if it was 50 people on the flight, then it's 50 people that's going to be, monitored even closer. Who's doing that? Lord knows.
So you're saying that? I was going to ask you that. What is monitoring?
Lord knows, I don't know. I haven't been through it, so I couldn't explain it. I don't know, and it hasn't been explained. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where
But let's stay optimistic. Let's stay optimistic. Let's stay optimistic that it's be, within 2 weeks the virus will go through the system, no health concerns, and hopefully these numbers will drop. But I'm just wondering how we're still making these decisions, because I know initially it was so to protect our health system.
yeah. Well, clearly, our health system is being pulled all over the place of late, and and we keep referring to it, that it would appear that the only thing that's actually on hold is our communities playing contact sports. Everything else would appear to be allowed to happen. The fact that bars and restaurants have to close at a certain time, they're still able to operate. So those people are still able to get some form of funding or money, where the average amateur athlete that uses that as a release, uses sport as a release or a relief, is still being held hostage for whatever reason.
Once again, if we're talking about health and safety, why are schools back open?
Yeah. Well, COVID don't touch when you're in school uniform. COVID don't touch you.
It doesn't touch you after 12 o'clock either. I take it all early touch.
Don't touch you after 12.
See these things, they just keep moving, and we're blaming. I won't say we're blaming. What gets blown up or exposed? Take for instance the event at Botanical Gardens gets exposed, but somebody had to bring it there. Who should have been under monitoring? That's what if you're tested positive, you should be under monitoring, right? That's what.
Right. I mean, have they said that somebody from that incident was positive?
No, but you see, they're making they're closing down events.
Well, yeah. I mean, one event has gotten everything from a public perception in government shut down. I mean, they came up with a statement: no beach parties, no government buildings being allowed to be used for night events, and so I'm kind of trying to understand how one person or group inability to do something, kind of everybody is being penalized for it, that even if you've been able to follow the rules. So why not just penalize the one, or penalize those who break the rule? Just like when people are out past curfew, you penalize them. So penalize the people who broke the rule and allow other people to be responsible. Simple.
And have some accountability for the folks who have some accountability for the monitoring process.
Yeah.
Because if one's supposed to be monitoring, okay, take for instance, your kid, you have a kid in your custody. We have kids. We have a kid in your custody, and something happens to your kid while it's in your custody, while you were out doing something else. Then you are liable. Yes. So I'm not saying we have to keep a close eye on somebody for 24 hours, but it's gotta be better than this.
Well, I know they do. Well, they were doing. What were they calling them? Spot checks. So they had a group of people going around to those who were supposed to be at home or wherever they were residing, ensuring that they were at those residences. So I knew. Well, remember back in the first lockdown, that was being said in press conferences. I haven't heard no press conference of late, obviously because I do another show at that same time. But even in the script, I don't think I've read that they're actually doing that, where they can, do that monitoring.
Well,
Yeah. So
I know in a personal case, it never happened in a personal case I know of. So I'll just leave it at that. But once again, I'm pretty sure there was people doing it. But once again, if we're talking about when those passengers that were stuck on the cruise ship in the early days, right? And when they remember they had to do quarantine before they came back, and the
mhm.
hotel came back here, and they was in the hotel, and then they had to go home for a week and be quarantined. So it was a minute.
Right, right. So
There was some
I mean,
strict, obviously protocols, obviously, but like I said, if it's a health, if we've been told it's we're trying to protect the health system, well, we have nobody in the hospital now.
mm,
So it'd be interesting if that plays into the decision that's going to probably be made next week going forward. But it's going to be interesting because all the events, all these sporting organizations, like most of them are sitting in limbo, and I'm
mm.
pretty sure the
Especially
frustration.
contact sports.
And I'm
I know for a fact that I've spoken to two contact sports, and they both have stated that they are unsure when they will be given permission to resume play. They're just waiting for the health clearance to be given. When that will come, uh, only those in that office would be able to tell you. So, and we're not privy to that. So
no, no.
we just as everybody said, we just sit and wait and wait and wait.
And
And with that comes a lot of speculation, comes a lot of angst from people. I mean, a lot of people utilize a sport to get that frustration out, to get all that pent up energy, you
stress.
know. And if the long it's been a while. It's been a while for most contact sports. I know rugby never got started. Football got started. It stopped. It stopped. The last match was December 5th. We're
Hold on,
now March 10th.
back up. The rugby league never got started,
The local rugby never got started.
but a rugby event got played over a
Yes.
few days, over a period
Oh,
of
no,
time.
no, no, not over a few days.
Right,
It was over 3 weekends.
right. So that wasn't not one day. That was not a 1 day event.
No, 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 no,
That
no,
was
no.
something that was planned far and far and far in the early
I weren't
stage.
planning far enough in advance because they still owe the vendors money.
Once again, who's supposed to be held accountable?
Well, I got a statement from the Bermuda Tourism Authority who were the ones who signed off on them to come. So that was posted last week. So
There's got to
very
be
interesting story.
some checks and balances because I know as a personal promoter, for me to do business in this island that I'm
Hmm.
born and raised in, I've got to go
Hmm.
hoops and hurdles to, number one, even rent a government venue.
Yeah.
Wait,
And they had rented the government venue for longer than a month because they needed to do all the work to get it ready for the 3 weekends.
so that would mean a substantial deposit would have to be paid by the promoter. I just
You know what? I'm going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by David Bascom, who did today the Baltimore Blast announced that they will be actually starting their season in November at Towson University. We'll be right back.
The everyday use of spices goes back well over 6,000 years, evidenced by archaeological finds in Europe, including remains of spiced food. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting flavors to the table. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant, essential oils in these natural seasonings. We're featuring Frontier Natural Products, organic ground cloves, rub sage leaf, and poultry seasoning. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Good evening and welcome back. First of all, welcome David Bascom. Earlier I saw you were in a mask and a suit at a table, giving a motivational speech about the news that the Baltimore Blast will return to football in November, or indoor soccer in November at a new venue. New location. Give me your thoughts.
Good evening. Jason, how you doing?
Hey, good buddy. How you doing, good buddy?
Everything's good. I see you smiling up there like you have something you want to say to me. Yeah. Nah, it's all, it's all good. And, it's all good. We actually same venue, or it's actually we're going to be at Towson. But what happened was that since the government, COVID, we're actually been closed down all this time. Yeah, we couldn't really play this season. So the press conference today was to confirm, that we will be playing in November. And it was very important that this happens because just bringing confidence to the fans. I know what this game means to the fans, the players. The fans, when you're looking at fans, when they cannot watch a game, especially a professional game, that's their social climate, their social gathering. They are looking for that entertainment, right? As the players, when you're looking at this game, it's a platform for players to kind of perform, okay, and get a chance to show everything that they have kind of learned from being young. So not being able to actually play this game for them has actually been very tough. So today it was important that the owner of the team and the AD of Towson University lets the fans know that we will be playing. So it was a big to-do. Some people say, hey, you guys are playing November. Why even bother, right? When you got fans holding for so long, you're looking at 12 months. They want to know that their sport's coming back. They want to know that they get a chance to watch the Baltimore Blast again.
And as you said, it was a significant announcement. Where do you go from here? What happens with the program? Do you give the guys the time off, or when would you look to get back into some sort of preseason? As you said, guys have been off for almost a year. There was a plan to start. Some of your players were going to go off to other places to play. So when would you look to get these guys back together?
Yeah, we have what we've done is that because we did not have a season, the best thing to do was allow these guys to play. Some of the guys have been put on loan. 3 of the players have been put on loan. It's good for me. I need to see them play. I don't want my players hanging idle. Between when we last played and November, you're looking at close to 17, 18 months. Okay, especially when we're dealing with my players that's over the age of 31, 32. I need them playing. It's nothing bad. They need to keep the legs going, right? It will be tougher for them to recover if they're not being active. I do have a structure. As a professional coach, there's many things that comes into play. Okay, I have to deal with the mental state of the players. I have to deal with the climate. I have to deal with the culture. And I have to win games. The toughest thing is that when you're a professional, amateur coach is one thing, right? When you're a professional coach, you are responsible for winning. Okay, I don't have the time to play the nice game. I don't have the time to be like, okay, you know what, guys, you got one more year to get it going. Oh no, you will get judged on winning. And even when the fans call for, we want to win, we want to play great, we want to look good, right? They want to win. They want to win. I mean, we won 9 championships. This is a winning city. They want to win games. Think about it, right? I'm coming in as a coach. I was assistant coach a part of this. 9 championships, and here I come step in, right? And one of the young men asked me a couple of weeks ago, said, how are you going to fill the shoes of the last coach? I said, hold up. You better be very mindful. The last coach wore a size 9. I wore 7.5. There's 2 different shoes here. I said, I'm not going to fill nobody's shoes here. So, and they have to understand this, right? Our names are different. Our names are pronounced different, right? There's 2 different, but I was a part of the group. Yeah, I won 9 championships. And this is tall order when looking for change. I'm not looking to win 9 championships. I'm looking for my players to understand what change looks like because it's coming. And it's crazy because one of the biggest things is that being a professional coach, see, amateur coach is cool, right? Amateur coach is cool. You tell the guy don't come training, okay, I'll replace you. Could you imagine as a pro, and one of your guys decides he don't feel like playing today? Yeah, I gotta cut that young man. I gotta put him in a situation, and I gotta put where he gets to lose his job. He no longer can provide for his family. See, people think it's easy. And I know you got, and Jason, you look like a Liverpool fan. I know you got yeah. So let's look at what's going on today. Let's look at a lot of fans was like, hey, why don't you guys play with no fans? I'm so huge on climate. Look at all the teams that's playing. You cannot tell me. And just being in this environment, I love a crowd, right? But I played, oh yes, a fan's awesome. Let your guy, could you imagine, Jason, you come to the game, I about to perform. Could you imagine you're not at the game, right? So there's no home field advantage when you have no fans. It's like getting the guys up for training, right? When you go to professional training, there's so much errors that happen because that's the time when they flush it all out. Do you know what's like when you're watching Liverpool or Man U or whoever play? Do you know that environment looks like a training environment for the professional athlete?
Yes.
But you are expecting the same thing. You expect, but there's no accountability. Coaches have been given a break this year. Coaches have been given a break. Coaches have been given a break because the fans, as you walk in, fans are telling you, yep, you should be fired. Could you not hearing that when you lost 9 games straight, Liverpool 6 games straight? Though I love the coach, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea, right? Is that what this means to us when we know now the facility, the arena that we're playing in says, yep, the Baltimore Blast will be back.
Yeah. Let me ask you, the fact that you actually played under the same circumstances, does that toughen your skin for this new challenge of being able to say, hey, I can't use you, goodbye? Because that's got to be tough in the environment of a professional to be told by the coach, I don't need you anymore.
It's game over, right? There is a difference, right? I can only put it to you like this. It's you know, when you are a coach, a professional coach, when you're in charge of a group of guys that's getting paid for a living, right? You cannot be a fan of them. You have to be their coach. See, Jason and Earl, let's say you guys are watching my team and you become connected to players because you are a fan, right? As a coach, I can be a fan of my players. If I'm a fan of my players, I become too connected to them emotionally, and I'm afraid to make those tough decisions.
Be biased.
Right? So fans don't want to make that decision because they don't know how. That's why I tell the fans, stay in your lane. You just be a fan. Until you get to coach them. And the one thing is that one of my principles that all my players, since I took over the head coaching job, right? I will make mistakes because I'm human. But the mistakes that I make, and it's very important that they understand the mistakes that I make is for the integrity, for the success, for this team. They cannot look at me and say that, oh, you know, I don't know, because I love winning. I'm even a part of winning 9 championships. I love winning, right? So that fan and coaching is such a gap between there, right? I cannot get emotionally connected to my players. Doesn't mean I can't be relationships.
Right.
But I can't get to space where I'm afraid to cut a guy because he is my guy. His family is awesome. Oh, no. Once I get into that space, I will now putting everything over the integrity for what this franchise has been, put forward over years, 40 years.
Jay, you got a question?
Oh yeah, sure. You know that. So let's go up to the first statement you made. Damn, you was wearing a mask and a suit or something.
So he's at a press conference. He's at a press conference.
So you're the coach and the mascot now. I mean,
no, fuck it, no.
It's probably a little rough in Baltimore where you gotta double up on be the mascot.
Listen, it's legal for a black guy to walk down the street with a mask on now. It's legal.
Yeah, okay. I mask up.
What character is your mascot of the Baltimore Blast? Oh, yeah, I need to know because I need to see this. Just in case I do come to a game, I can recognize. Oh, that's David over there in the mask. I just need to do that.
Hey, don't worry, buddy. Hey, widow speaking ponytail, you are not missing that. Listen, if you can't, you are in trouble. Yeah, widow speaking ponytail. Yeah, I can. Anyhow,
You're only gonna miss him chewing the gum. That's all you're gonna miss.
See, I've been there already, Earl. Don't bring back those memories.
yeah.
But on a serious tip, with this new venue, I didn't hear you mention anything about fans at this new venue. And I know I haven't been to the Baltimore Blast game. I was there to actually watch David Boston play. Didn't get to see him, but I was there to see him play. But know that the game is more. One thing about professional sports, especially in America, it's not just a game; it's a product. That's from the time you walk into the stadium and to the time I left the stadium. It's a product. The game on the field, obviously, the cheerleaders is a big part of the organization, but also the interaction with fans. What is the protocol, or what is the outlook for that in your new arena?
Yeah, well, that's what they had talked about, and that was the conference today. So the athletic director of Tulsa University. Now, what been at this arena for the last 4 years, right? So it may came across like it's new. It actually definitely a much better arena than we was in before. Okay, it's what they've announced today was letting everybody know that, listen, we will have fans. Okay, we will have fans in November. What that capacity is going to be like, it may be 2/3 of the fans, right? So, but that was the announcement. We will have fans, and it was important for this announcement because the fans need to be comfortable that we're returning to play, that they're going to be allowed to come to this game, that they can actually watch their team play. Now, we got 17 teams in this league, and right now we only got 7 teams that's actually playing right now. Okay, and it's very tough. No fans are allowed. They're trying to keep this game, just keep it going, right? And you got the Mexican teams that are out. You got ourselves. You got a whole East Division that's actually out. So a lot of players have been put on loan, and it's been very tough. But they are trying to keep it going, survive the league. So you're watching the games on, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You are getting a chance to watch the games, but it's very tough for the fans. And it's really. Listen, if we was to play and allowed to play with no fans, it would be very tough for us to go ahead and continue. Okay, because we're not, when you're looking at the big leagues and stuff, we don't have no huge TV deals, right? To basically, compensate those funds coming in. The Blast will be able to survive, but it's a lot of teams that will really struggle. But no, and that's the key, right? We will have fans. We will have fans in November unless there's a huge turnaround with COVID, of anything else that comes on. But, that's where we are right now. I'm just excited. My players have been off for 12 months, 18 months before we get back going. And, the one thing I can say, I'm undefeated, actually. The first year I'm looking live, it actually feels pretty good.
If you quit now, you got on top, man.
Hey, going to a season undefeated. Now, listen, I'm not going to complain about that. Now, if there's one more year we got to take off, then cool. There's 2 years undefeated. I get to
you can retire.
I get to keep my job for another year. Hey, there's no complaints here. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a really lot. It's this job calls for a lot. As a professional coach, it really, really calls for a lot. So. I really need to stay on top of things. We got a lot of new players looking to come in. A lot of our players we get from, outside as well. 70% of the players that's playing indoor, you got from Brazil, Argentina, Italy. You got a lot of players that's outside the country. And just to think them not being able to travel, right? And trying to scout new players. So it's been a grind and it's been a long process.
Two questions for you. One on the business. You talked about older players. I'm pretty sure you got even players with expiring contracts. How you guys will be able to manage these expiring contracts? And also, you said picking up players when you're actually off, especially for take for instance when you're coming to the end of your career. You haven't played in a year. Dave, you know how your knees were when you got a little older. It's a little hard to get around. But the value of the players, and as a coach, as a business, how do you assess these players?
Yeah, that's let me put you into that whole professional like state. All right. Let's say, for instance, I have yourself, Earl Bays, and you are now Earl. You will be my analyst, right? You're gonna be my player analyst, right? So with the Baltimore Blast and what I've been strategically done, Earl, you're responsible for making sure that you give me all the data on all the players. Number one, right? You have to collect all the data on all the players, from the age, everything, the social climate, everything, right? So let's say I got a player who's now just hit 34. Or you give me the data, and the data says that, listen, this player's had five surgeries, 2 surgeries, 1 surgery. This player just had a social climate. He just had 2 kids, right? He just had 2 born. So what I have to do, I have to take that. I have to analyze this. Now, all of a sudden, Jason, I'm saying to you is that now we have to forecast, right? We have to forecast on where this player, his ability is going to be in the next 3 years. What does this look like for a 34-year-old, 2 kids, social climate? Then I go to you. Then I say to you is that, hey, listen, now we got to look at is that, okay, Hezonja can give it 2 years, or can he? You may say, nope, Hezonja going to give us 1 year because the last 2 years we've seen his product declining. Now I got to look and say, wow, how much is he valued at? Where we are with our financial status, what are we going to do? Once I break down now each player, yeah, it's usually uncommon, I break down every player that way. Once I break the player down, then I have to look at my model, my skeleton, right? I take all my players and I put them on the side. Then I look at my principles. Then I see which players can fit the principles of my principles as a coach. See, we may have 20 players that don't mean they all fit my principle despite that I was assistant coach. Okay, so then I have to fit them all in. Now I find my gaps. I move them on the side. Now I start my research. For instance, let's say we have 95% of my players are right-footed. Here comes the data, right? I'm like, okay, cool. 95% of the players are right-footed. This means is that I'm getting 90% or 80% of the balls swinging from my right side to my left side of the field. This means is that I cannot control the balance of the field. Means I need some left-footers in my field, especially indoor, small-sided. Now I'm looking at saying, wow, if I only got 90%, 80% on one side, 20 on the other from left to right, this means that anybody that's coaching against me can force me to what side? My left side. This means I'm in trouble. So now I have to build my curriculum based on my analyzing my players. Then I have to go to my drills. So I break everything down, which takes about 3 months. See, people think this job's easy. See, it's different as an amateur coach. You don't have to worry with it. Guys, you come play for me, right? And that's how it's broken down, right? I really take the game very seriously. And that's why we won 9 championships, because this is the process that's put in place. People will argue, say, well, you know, it's just indoor. It's professional, right? I don't care if it's beach football. I don't care if it's soccer, tennis. I don't care. When you're dealing with professional athletes, there's a mindset. And when you can win at that level, it really takes a lot. Yeah, it's somewhere. So I don't know if that helps you.
But yes and no. But I understand you've gave our listeners and our viewers insight of being an actual manager. The word manager, you know, a lot of times it's been given to a person who's basically babysitting. But what you're spelling out is how you actually manage not just the game on the field, but off the field and the business that's off the field. The other question you mentioned about the Mexican players and obviously a lot of South American players. How has the influence of futsal helped out with indoor soccer, as you would say?
It's been good, and it's been really tough. The futsal players, so when there's a huge difference, right? The indoor game is more compared. It's more kind of, you got a lot of futsal good players that will play, but you also got a very high percentage of the outdoor players that actually play indoor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you why. The indoor game, the futsal is a smaller ball. Mm-hmm. Transition looks different. The ball very rarely comes off the ground that much, unless the guy's flicking it up. There's a smaller field. So there's a lot of gaps in the futsal game. Indoor is more compared to a hockey, more compared to basketball. Yes. The transition looks different, right? The game is a little slower in futsal. The indoor game, it's a lot faster. The ball is similar to the outdoor ball, right? We play for size 5. So there's a lot of very little, there's some comparison. But now we're looking at players, you know what the futsal calls for? That's why I love my little people playing futsal. The skill.
Skill, yeah, the touches.
Oh, unbelievable skill. But what we find, a lot of futsal players can't transition well. Very lazy. And what they do, they wait for the ball to come to them, right? It's kind of like end up with unbelievable skill. So what we have to do is that when we get in our futsal players, I'm not watching a video on the skill because I know they have it. I'm watching for transition. I'm watching to see if they can, how quickly they turn off. Yeah. As soon as they lose it, what's their next step? Right. So there's a lot of structural play. There's a lot of zone play. So for instance, everybody may be thinking that oh yeah, he probably doesn't watch 11v11. Yes, I do. Oh yes, I do watch 11-11 because 11-11 is only one ball. Think about when a ball moves in 11-11, it's moving in small pockets. So everything's a small-sided game, right? And the thing is about numbers. Can you outnumber? Your goalkeeper spends, do you know back in the day, a goalkeeper had to clip a ball forward. Goalkeepers now playing balls out of the back. So my goalkeeper has to be sweeper keepers. Same as indoor. The difference when you're dealing with the systematical play of indoor, because the biggest difference is that with the FIFA game, is that it's the only game, and this is the thing, is that does not build relationships on the field because we are not even up numbers. 11-11, one goalkeeper, 10 on the field. So when I build a relationship with my right back, he is now considered connection with my right midfielder. Indoor, we got 6 players, one goalkeeper, 5 on the field. So one player is always left out. See, there's a whole science of this game, and I have to take the science and continue to kind of build it forward. Like we use blocks, we use zones. It's a matter of now is that how we put this, but the futsal, unbelievable talent, unbelievable skill. What has to happen though, outdoor coaches need to understand the importance of futsal and what it does for our young players, because the ball moves slower and it's heavier. So the young skilled players will be able to get more touches on the ball, like my 5 and 6 and 7 year olds.
Well, David, I do want to thank you for your time. We do have other guests coming on.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch as we get closer to the start of the new season, and obviously any developments you have coming out of Baltimore in your New Balance. All right? We're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, we'll be joined by Craig Brown.
You know how to find me, right?
What's that?
I'm just trying to tell him when he gets back home, he knows how to find me.
I will find you, Mr. Jason Ford.
We're going to be joined by the president of the Bermuda Golf Association, Mr. Craig Brown. We'll be right back.
All right.
Amy's Kitchen is an independent organic food producer, a family business who've been focusing on wholesome and flavorful foods for over 30 years. From their first pot pie right up to 1 million meals a day, and firmly believe in the importance of TLC throughout the entire journey to the final outcome. This month we're featuring Amy's Organic Soups, black bean, vegetable, minestrone, quinoa, kale, red lentil, low-fat split pea, and vegetable barley and more. All of them dairy, gluten, and lactose free. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. And again, we're joined by the president of the Bermuda Golf Association, Mr. Craig Brown, and also, I'm not sure, Jared Dillis. Jared, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Earl.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Obviously, we want to be talking about this junior program that you guys want to get back up and running. It's been a while since we've had a junior program. The unfortunate thing is the junior championship that was due to take place in January, which was a collaboration with the Canadian or USA Junior Golf and Bermuda, is now scheduled to take place in December. But let's talk local game first. Craig, this program that you're looking to really ignite and get started, how are things looking and shaping up? Because you do have an assessment portion coming up very soon, right? You got to unmute.
Good evening, guys. I'm Jason and Earl. Welcome. And also Jared is also the vice president of the Bermuda Golf Association, so as well as one of our most celebrated amateurs. So, guys, yeah, no, we're really excited. It's been a long time. It's been sort of been dormant for a little while now. Probably a little bit to do with COVID, but also due to the transition that we were undertaking, taking the Bermuda Junior Golf Association through and under the auspices of the Bermuda Golf Association. So that's been really good. It's been well supported by the Ministry of Youth and Sport. MESO and our long-term athlete development plan has been backed very well by them, and it's been exciting for us. This week we launched it, and we got 111 replies, and that's unprecedented, really. Jared and I came up through the game through the Junior Golf Association, probably in its heyday, produced a lot of the players that actually made the Bermuda Championship, and as a result, we all have a very deep-hearted connection to that. So we wanted to see it come back again. So we're very excited for Saturday at Port Royal, starting at about 9 o'clock in the morning because we have so many people. We brought it forward under COVID rules, obviously, but we have, say, 111 people, and 17 of which are girls, which is fantastic because it really ties in well with what we want to try and do and where we're trying to get the game to grow. So it's been a long road for us, but we're here now, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, Jared, let me ask you real quick. What is the ultimate goal for this program?
Hi, good evening, guys. Apologize for the technical difficulties with my camera here.
No problem.
Yeah, we're I guess as Craig kind of said, we're trying to get the program back to where it was when we came through it. It was a really strong program from top to bottom, really. And we've got to start somewhere. And I think we're going to try to take all the good things that was in the program when we came through it and try to put a modern spin on it. And Craig's bringing a bit of this, more of the science into it. So it's not, especially when you're coming into it at a young age, it's not just about golf. It's just as much about functional movement, which was different to when I learned the game. But I think this is it's a good start. I think there's been some good work done in the junior game, both with respect to the BJGA, the Bermuda Junior Golf Association, in recent times, as well as at the individual clubs. And this is trying to bring it all under one umbrella and, progress the game forward.
I was going to ask that because for a number of years, you had the Bermuda Junior Golf Association as well as the Bermuda Golf Association, and it almost ran separate. Is this new kind of collaboration to bring it all under one umbrella and ensure that there is functionality, same thing from bottom to top to bottom?
Yeah, I mean, from a point of view of governance, we can start there. It's very important that we're, as the governing body, the Bermuda Golf Association was sort of working there, but the Bermuda Golf was working separately. And that worked a long time ago when the numbers were high. But we really wanted to get everybody on the same page, and the long-term athlete development, the shift in mindset, both with the Ministry of Sport and sport in general, has allowed us to have that opportunity to bring that collaboration together. And it's not just us. I mean, there's also the Bermuda Professional Golf Association. And while they remain a separate entity, what they bring is obviously the coaching. And we work very closely with them. They're a stakeholder. We help support some of their long-term coaching development plans. And that's also, again, with the Bermuda Olympic Association, reaching out through the reach that we have at the governing body to help support some of their development as well as coaches. So it's really not just about one component. It's really about everything coming together. And it's been a really good journey so far. And it's nice because we're all sort of coming off the same song sheet, so to speak. So we're really excited about that.
Jay?
Hey guys, with this new program or revised program you guys are starting back up, do you guys have the former players or pros, local pros or pros who are playing now involved in this program with the kids? Because I always know from just personal, when you have kids who are looking up to a golfer or idol in that sport, it's always nice to have them around to give them the ins and outs alongside the coach, because then they're following that person. They can have that one-on-one interaction with them. Do you guys have the local amateurs and top pros to help other kids also?
Jared, do you want to go?
Yeah, that will be the idea. So, I mean, a lot of the locally based professionals are, club professionals on island. They already, like I say, and Craig has mentioned, give back to the sport from a development perspective. But as I say, we all came through this program, not just myself, but guys like Daniel Augustus, Kamiko Smith. So when they're back on island, Michael Sims as well. So when, those guys are back on island and all the top players who are based here, everyone has, expressed an interest to want to get involved, want to, help the program that gave us, our start in the game. And it's, like I said, we're really looking forward to giving back. As I said, when we were coming through, there were, quite a few parents that were involved as their kids were involved. And I think what we're seeing now is, our generation, not myself personally, but a lot of the guys, that I grew up with in the program, they've got kids, and you know, they're interested in their kids getting involved in the sport, learning the game, kind of the way that we did. And you know, I think that we'll have a lot of help to, like I say, try to get the program going again. And you know, we can't do it without volunteers, without help. And yeah, so we're looking forward to it.
I think on one other point, we started the program now at 5. Traditionally, golf started at 7 or 8, and bringing the age down at 5, what Jared touched on before, is trying to get a golf club or some type of hitting utensil in their hand at an earlier age. Teach them the fundamental movements. Teach them athleticism. You know, athlete first is our approach. So while we may not see them become a golfer, they may end up being a cricketer or something like that. How many guys do you know play golf after they play their other sports? I mean, golf really is a game for life. So we want to get it in their hands early, let them understand it's fun, and hopefully they'll be addicted like the rest of us have been the rest of all our lives afterwards.
Yeah.
Are you guys collaborating with any foreign institutions of higher learning for scholarships and stuff for your, obviously your elite athletes? I mean, I'm going a little bit further down the road, but that's something that, you know, parents would definitely be wondering, because you see a lot of the other sports, whether it's the national academies, there's always an education component to the programs, especially now with kids. It's not just on the field, but also off the field. So what do you guys have in store for us?
Well, you know, it's a great question, Jason, because one of the biggest components we have, this is not just about the kids really, this is a starting point, our entry point. And we have an entire plan from 0 to 23, basically 5 to 23. Our strategic plan is known as the Birth to Podium. And inside that, as most of you will be aware, golf is one of the only few sports on the island that you can actually have a career in. You don't have to be professional, but you can be a professional working in golf. And what we're lining up with, we're having a couple of years ago, we started preliminary discussion in Bermuda College. We're starting that again with a vocational track. So there's going to be a sort of 3-track process. There's going to be as the kids get older and they stay in the game, we have a process of about 16 years old. We'll start school leavers, so to speak. We'll have a vocational track with Bermuda College, partnering with Bermuda Golf Association. We're going to have that come online. It's going to take a little bit more discussion, but it's in the process. We're also talking about a looper or caddy school. Again, that creates opportunities for overseas and education. And then there's obviously the college player pathway. Those people that we highlight early that we feel will go on to represent Bermuda, just as Jared has for years, and some of the better amateurs and those who have left the amateur ranks and turned pro. One thing that everybody does, everybody starts golf as an amateur. Every single pro starts as an amateur. So everybody has been in the BPGA, everybody that's gone through it has been an amateur at one point in their life. So that is something that we have, and we've got a pathway for that. So it's exciting. We're in talks with a major club manufacturer to hopefully provide clubs for those that can't afford it. So basically, we'd like to see, our motto and our goal is to grow, develop, and sustain the game of golf. But ultimately, we don't want to hear anybody ever have to say golf is not for us. And we want to have everybody be able to get access to the game. And this whole program, our national plan, is completely going to be inside the public golf courses. But alongside that, we're going to be educating, helping the pros at the private clubs with their educational track and supporting as we can. So it's one of the big things. And the other component is high performance. Like Jared can talk about it, the mentors component. Jared?
You're doing such a good job, man. You could keep going.
Okay, yeah, giving you the mentor program, the high performance. Jared is also in charge of our high performance team. It's important.
Yeah, I think kind of as was touched on earlier, it's important to have players to look up to as you're coming through the sport. I mean, I think any golfer kind of in my generation and less, you look up to Tiger Woods. But as a Bermudian golfer, our kind of version of that, at least my version of that, was Michael Sims. He was someone that I always looked up to, someone that, I kept an eye on, how he was playing when he was at university. Is part of the reason why I chose to go to the University of Rhode Island, because, Michael went there. And then when he was, playing on the web.com, the Nike Tour, and then, what is now known as the Nationwide, or what is it now known as?
Corn Ferry.
step down from the PGA Tour.
Corn Ferry Tour.
I'm blanking on the name, but anyway, you keeping track of his scores and always looking up and saying, if Michael can do it, maybe I can do it one day. And always very, gracious with his time. When he was back on island, always, wanting to give back to me. Was always a good resource to be able to, kind of bounce my ideas off. When he was on island, we got to play together.
Sorry, he dropped off. He's having internet problems. But Craig, President, what does the program look like? So how often will they actually be playing, and how often will they be in the training environment, especially the youngsters?
So the youngsters, what we have after the assessment day, will be able to better place people into their skill sets and age brackets and what they can do and who they can interact with. But ultimately speaking, on Friday nights, we started about 4 o'clock, 3:45 on a Friday at Ocean View. And we're going to do about half an hour there. Then another group will come in and we'll do another group. Obviously, we have COVID restrictions. So we're going to start that in March 19th, which is the first Friday after daylight savings. We need that extra light time. So that we'll be putting those groups together. And then we're going to be moving towards, we're just in the process of going through a golf development officer applications. And to Jason's question earlier, we were again pleasantly surprised about the applicants. There's a lot of people that play the game, currently amateurs or pros, that have come through the junior program or very keen to, it's a paid position part-time at the moment, but they also want to be a part of it. So hopefully the panel will select the right candidate for that. And they'll be instrumental in this, because what we're looking to do is then go to Saturday afternoons. Traditionally, that's always been a golf day. Try not to compete with other sports too much. Allow our children to go play other sports. We actually advocate for that. We want to see them play other sports because that athleticism can transfer over to golf. So we're going to be looking at that in the afternoons of Saturday, a mixture of playing and also lessons from the mentors, the better amateurs and development officer and so forth. And then after that, we're going to be doing a golf in schools program, and that's the big part, and that's really exciting. In 2017, we signed the memorandum of understanding, and to tell you how long this process is to get to fruition. And the vision has been there for a long time, but the board has always talked about these incubated ideas, because we honestly didn't have the financial situation to make them happen. Probably made some great changes. In golf in schools program, we have signed up on the MOU. Obviously, the primary school structure is about to change, but we had 6 primary schools signed up over 3 days a week. So with 2 schools in the east, 2 central, and 2 in the west, and also the all-girls school. And we're going to be initially our pilot programs, and that's going to be again targeted between 5 to 7, 5 to 8-year-olds, trying to get that early interaction with the game, and that's really a big part for us. It's trying to build our base, just get golf clubs in more people's hands that just traditionally wouldn't see a golf club. I just had a great chat with one of the presidents of a sports club today. In September, we'll probably see the traditional soccer and cricket clubs in the evenings down there, because it's something that we feel is very strong, and it's great life skills and so forth for the community. So I say we're really excited about this. It's going to be a fantastic time for Bermuda golf, and we got the right people in the right places. So I think the right time. COVID, everybody wants to be outside. So
yeah, definitely. But what we'll do is we'll stay in touch with you guys, because obviously once this program really gets up and running and the development side is established, we want to make sure that everyone still has an opportunity to be involved or get involved. You know how a lot of people are, they'll stand on the side to see how things materialize first, and then they want to get involved. So yeah, we'll keep you in mind.
Thank you. I mean, come up on Saturday. Come and see it for yourself on Saturday morning. We're going to be going from 9 to about 2 o'clock. I say we got from 5 years old to 16-year-olds. It's going to be quite a long day for us, but we're really looking forward to it.
All right, no problem. Thank you and Jarrett for sharing and giving updates on the Bermuda Junior Golf and Bermuda Golf in a whole. So we'll be right back, and when we do come back, we'll be joined by Anne-Marie Burke with our overseas report. We'll be right back.
Welch's, producers of the world's best-known grape juice, have been based in Concord, Massachusetts since 1869. Distributed in Bermuda by John Barrett & Son, Welch's has become a household name. We're featuring Welch's 100% Concord grape and Niagara grape juices, distinctly delicious and heart-healthy, and ushering in bold new flavors. Welch's Super Berry Juice, combining the Concord grape with Aronia berries for tartness and mangosteen for sweetness, and Welch's White Grape Peach and flavored blend of white grape, pear, apple, and peach juices. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Brought on by the government of Barbados. These curfew restrictions run until March the 14th, so everybody's looking forward to see what happens on Sunday and if there'll be any release of the country in terms of lockdown, etc. We still have a pretty high number of cases being recorded every day, on average 30 to 40 cases per day, and therefore there's still cause for concern that we don't have the COVID-19 spread fully under control. So we're just waiting to see how the government will actually react in that way. We would have missed one of our major events because of this lockdown, the Sandy Lane Gold Cup, the marquee event for horse racing here in Barbados. It would have been last Saturday at the Garrison Savannah. Unfortunately, because of our restrictions, we were unable to have that event. It's not totally off the cards. The Barbados Turf Club, they've postponed the event and honestly canceled it. So we're waiting to see if they'll actually have the event a little later in the year. So we're going to hold our hopes out that we do have horse racing returning to the Garrison Savannah, and in particular that we do have the Sandy Lane Gold Cup. And you would have mentioned the World Cup qualifiers. Well, yes, the Barbados Tridents left this afternoon to head over to Dominican Republic. They're playing in Group D of that first round of the CONCACAF qualifiers. And we're going to first face Panama on March the 24th, and then we will play Anguilla on March the 30th. Now, one of the major issues that we had as a Barbados Tridents team is that because of the many restrictions and lockdown, as well as the lack of movement by individuals, we were unable to train as a unit. And therefore, the Barbados Football Association took the decision to send the team into Dominican Republic for a 2-week intense camp prior to the start of the qualifiers. This is twofold. One, for the team to actually get back into training as a unit, and two, for them to acclimatize to the conditions over there in the DR. So basically, we had to send the team out. We have a 24-member squad, 20 local players and 4 international players that were expected to join the team. We did have 2 international players who were unable to make the trip because of their commitments with their various clubs. Thierry Gale, who plays in Budapest, his club said that they're not going to release him based on the fact that the time that it takes to go to DR, then he comes back and he will have to quarantine. He will miss a big chunk of the Hungarian football season out there. And then we also had Hallam Hope, who plays for the Swindon Town Club in the League One over there in the UK. They decided not to release him either for national duty, based again on the restrictions, of course, that he will face coming in and going out of the UK, as well as, the possibility that he does open himself to contracting COVID-19. So those 2 international players will be out of our squad, but we're expecting that the 4 other international players will be included. So we're just waiting to see if they will be able to join the squad over in the DR. However, we've taken a 20-member team of local players. So even if we don't have our international players being able to join the team, we have a full complement to play the qualifiers. So that's it from the football end. One of the athletes from Barbados has been able to leave the island and go into some intense international training. That is a young table tennis ace by the name of Tyrese Knight. He's over there in Doha, Qatar. He is actually first a part of the ITTF International Table Tennis Federation. That is, they have an elite camp going, training camp, and he's a part of that. And then that camp runs until March the 13th. And then on the 14th, Tyrese goes directly into qualifiers for the Olympic Games. So we're looking forward to Tyrese taking in all that he can from the current camp that is ongoing, and then take that momentum into possibly qualifying for the Olympic Games. So basically that's it from us here in Barbados. Not a lot going on the ground here locally, but our athletes are able to be out there and getting out. A number of our track and field juniors as well, who are over there in the university system in the NCAA, have been doing really well. A lot of them have been named as athletes of the month and athletes of the year, so they're doing really well. Some of them would have been representing their universities and being the top brass in their various universities and various events. So we still have our athletes who are able to be out there in the international realm doing what they have to do. But from a local perspective, we're still very much under lockdown, and we're just hoping that come this weekend, the government would give us a little more ease and maybe we can get back to some level of normalcy. But again, it's all based on how we are handling the spread of the virus here in Barbados, because we do have community spread, and it's a cause for concern, given that we have cases ranging between 30 to 35 per day. So that's it from me. I'm wishing everybody over there in Bermuda all the best. Stay safe. I myself am trying to do the same, and I'll look forward to hearing from you next week.
Well, Jay, we thought we were bad. 30 odd a day. Boy. Wow.
But once again, I'd like to hear, I'd like to probably research a little bit more as the hospitalizations in Barbados to see how it is affecting their health system.
Yeah.
Because you know how important that is, you know?
Very much so. Boss?
I'm surprised she was going to bring up the West Indies beating Sri Lanka in one day. I
guess they don't want to talk about it because they're jinxing it.
I mean, it's a real.
I did get to hear, because our good friend Vernon A. Springer was one of the commentators today, and he did give this show a shout out during the commentary.
Hey.
So, you know, we're good places.
Hey.
Because he apologized for not being able to do a report because he was busy doing the match, and he wanted to wish everybody here in Bermuda, you know, through the show, all the best. So
obviously, we wish him well. Hopefully, he stays safe, because we need my man Springer, man. We need him, man. I miss him, man.
The great one.
Well,
Jay, we've come to it.
Yeah, before we get interested, I just want to make mention that it was very important to hear from David the in and outs of manager, because I don't think a lot of people know how much it really takes to be a manager.
Professional.
And a professional, and I'm saying manager, but a professional manager is a whole nother level.
That's right. Yeah.
And at first, when he was saying that he cannot be a fan of a player, at first it sounds hard, because we all have a biasness. Even as a coach, I'm pretty sure when you're seeking to scout a player, amateur, I'm saying amateur-wise,
right?
It's some traits about that person that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's on the field, off the field, his leadership.
That's why you seek them out. That's why you seek them out,
right? But as a professional, that's probably one of the last things that are probably coming into mind, because he needs to go through all that data. And then it probably still might not make a difference, because if the data doesn't make sense with the money.
Right, yeah.
So we didn't get an answer as far as the money is concerned, but I'm pretty sure, man, it's got to be very and the other thing I want to mention, even though they're getting back to some fans, but Earl, I'm just still thinking about a lot of the vendors and the people that work behind the scenes, man, and what have they done? Because, you know, that's a job for them. You know, them not being what type of relief is for them is the federation or whatever. Are they helping out with? Because we saw that with NBA and
right,
and then help out some of the workers in the stadiums.
Yeah, we've been to professional sports in various places, and the street vendors rely on game day, and all those restaurants, pubs, or whatever around the stadiums, they rely on that, and they've been hurting, man. They have really been hurting.
Why was there?
Yeah, I did get it. I mean, Baltimore's starting to open up because Just yesterday, the mayor, and this is why they made the announcement today, the mayor has agreed to have stadiums 3/4 full. So come baseball season in a matter of weeks, Camden Yards will be allowed to have fans. Obviously, the Ravens will have fans. The Blast will have fans. All the professional environments will be allowed to have fans. But again, will those vendors be able to return? Have they survived? Have they, will they take that opportunity to come back? It's still going to be all of that. That's going to be up in the air as far as have those businesses survived.
I really still invest in or invest for another year that could have so much uncertainty, and taking on that product or that venture. That's yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Let's hope. All right, buddy. Well, we'll see you again in a week's time, man.
Let's think. Our next conversation we will have is we'll have some type of. We hopefully hear from the new outlook. What's going to happen as far as sports, probably.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping so. Well, the next time we talk will be a day after the next press conference.
My point is that we should have.
Well, we're down to 45 days to the sailing event, so yeah, you'll be all right.
You said that 2 weeks ago.
But quietly, all this stuff is here in Bermuda. No one said anything.
I think I saw a couple of sailors myself. We're in a little bracelet. I think you saw it too.
Don't be surprised, brother. Don't be surprised.
They didn't look like golfers to me, but
all right, buddy. Check you later.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.